it, and I could use a little help. Yeah, I know I can't help it. Hood pulled up, mask on, way before the pandemic. Eyes all black, like the ink in my pen. Face so white, like a ghost in my presence. They wonder why I'm so apprehensive. Ask myself why I feel this way, but I always leave with unanswered questions. Place myself behind closed doors, in the shadows. I don't understand it, I never will. So I guess it's time that I just accept it.
This is who I am. Never see me open, only know the closing. This is who I am. Yeah, I've been lurking in the shadows, waiting on my moment. This is who I am.
I'm always the one comparing me to somebody else, and I would always keep it in about the way that I felt. Like I was never really good at taking care of myself. It's hard to speak, especially in public. I was so committed and couldn't just break free. Wouldn't never think about anything safely, and nobody can hate as much as I hate me. So I stayed shy and I never lost a match. At the same time, I could've forgot the past. When I'm wishing for joy, was also just that. A darkness inside my heart is now black. All that still, I don't even know my worth. Almost like I pretend like I've got purpose. Here we go again, they know I'm hurt. I always try to find a place to work. Wonder why I'm so apprehensive. Ask myself why I feel this way, but I always leave with unanswered questions. Place myself behind closed doors, in the shadows. I don't understand it, I never will. So I guess it's time that I just accept it.
This is who I am. Never see me open, only know the closing. This is who I am. Yeah, I've been lurking in the shadows, waiting on my moment. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. Who I am.
Hey everyone, it's Area of Effect with another out-of-the-box build. This one, a favorite, an updated favorite. You all know the remote detonator build. I have released this build twice before this version, but this is the first time releasing and updating this build since the 8v8s. And this build does fantastic in those 8v8 settings, those large groups, but you know how I am. I got to do my 1v1s too. So anyhow, take a look at the stat screen. This is the front bar, over 30,000 max health, 25,000 max magicka, over 5,000 weapon and spell damage. We got around 11,000, working toward 12,000 penetration, and that's without breach, so we're probably going to be getting some of that as well. The back bar, we got some decent resistances, 27,000 and 24,000. Still a decent amount of max health, and recoveries were fantastic on both bars. Smoke Bear Haunch, 6 minutes left, max health and all 3 recoveries. We want to keep going and going. A lot of resource management on this build. We've got Dark Exchange, we've got high recoveries. We're able to really control our stamina and magicka and our resources here. We are using the Thief Mundus. We want to get more crit chance for our hits, big hits, and also big heals. We're an orc on this build. I like orcs, probably the best. As you guys all know in PvP, max stam 1,000, unflinching rage, max health 1,000, and then when you deal damage, you heal for 2,200 almost health every 4 seconds. I love that, kind of like a leeching passive. Swift Warrior increases your weapon and spell damage by 258 and reduce the cost of sprint by 12% and movement speed bonus of sprint by 10%. A lot of mobility on this build. On the Undaunted, we do get to 6% because we are wearing all 3 different armor weights, and we get the maximum synergy resources back as well. So yeah, let's take a look now at the gear. The first 5-piece set, Vicious Death, we're rocking the Lightning Staff, sharpened Lightning Staff for the extra direct damage bonus buffing passively. The 5th trait, when you kill a player, they violently explode for over 20,000 flame damage to all other enemies in a 5-meter radius. They essentially become your ticking time bomb. And that's actually the backbone behind a lot of this build, is you load up the other people, they become your bomb, and they're carrying around like 5 bombs with you. We'll break that down later, but further into the gear, the 2 pieces is an option, but Nariant, weapon and spell damage when you deal direct damage, 15% chance, 1 in 6 roughly, okay, that they're going to basically, you're going to summon a crystal that explodes for 8,200 magic damage to all enemies in the area. This is nice because you have more than one instance of direct damage happening simultaneously with a lot that we have going on. See how it's just proccing a lot, because look at all the direct damage above the enemies. There's multiple enemies, so somebody is most likely going to proc it. So it's going to be there almost every time. Next 5-piece set, Dark Convergence. Basically, when you cast an ability on the ground, it creates a giant purple vortex that pulls all enemies to its center. It applies a 60% snare while in that vortex. It stuns them for 1 second and then explodes, dealing damage multiplicatively depending on how many enemies are in the area and how close they are. If they are within the 3 meters of the core, they take that almost 10,000. If they're outside of that 3-meter range, but they're still within the 10-meter, they take that 45. But again, those numbers scale up depending on the number of enemies in that core. And there you see the size of it there. And it blows up. There they were all in the center, so you saw they were in that 3-meter range, so they got the bigger value. So that's kind of our pull, which is going to put everybody in the same spot, bringing them together. So Vicious Death, Nariant, and Dark Convergence. We got the Sash of the Trainee, because we have a 1-piece here as we're doing a toggle. We got, Dark Convergence on one bar, Vicious Death on the front bar. We try to end and execute and make sure we're ending our bomb rotation on our front bar, obviously. But this allows us to utilize a Mythic. And there's a number of options here. You could go with the Markin Ring of Majesty. You could go with the Sea Serpent's Coil if you wanted for that, Major Berserk and Major Courage. I like the resistance and the passive constant 200 weapon and spell damage here. You could go with any of your favorites, I suppose, on this build. A little bit of a flex spot, but I liked Markin. Seemed kind of straightforward. And also, I'd like to mention, if you really want to push the damage up a notch, you could switch those traits to Bloodthirsty, all 3, or just maybe 1 or 2, and also switch those glyphs from recovery, like Stam recovery, to weapon and spell damage to really push that power. As a Sork, with Orzorga's Smoke Bear Haunch recoveries and Dark Deal and Streak, there still is survivability, especially on a remote detonator build. So if you want more power and you want to pack more punch, go that route. Now, let me show you something here. Now, I know we haven't opened up into the skills section yet, and we're about to. But before we do, I want to give a quick example of kind of how we're doing this with the rotation. Because we have several different skills. We have Inevitable Detonation, we have Haunting Curse, we have Mage's Wrath, we have the Fire Rune that's going to create a bomb on the ground. We have all these things that make the enemy the bomb. Check us out. Inevitable, Haunting Curse, Fire Rune. There's Dark Convergence, Nariant, Mage's Wrath. Crystal Frags always procs, look at 26,000 single target. But the X button is a scribed skill that's going to allow us to spam Shocking Soul and get an AoE splash damage to everybody. And we're going to kind of jump into that right now, actually. First skill on the front bar, Shocking Soul. So this is our spammable 9,000 single target shock damage. We're using the class mastery script. We don't have a pet, so we get that 2,300 splash damage to everybody around as well. It's direct damage, really helps proc Nariant, and we get our Major Resolve and Major Ward. I'll explain why we got that script on there instead of something else in just a minute. Dark Conversion restores a big chunk of health and a big chunk of magicka at the cost of stamina, and also gives us Minor Berserk for 20 seconds, increasing our damage done by 5%. Big heal, resource management, Minor Berserk, you can't go wrong. Crystal Frags, so conjure dark crystals, 10,000 magic damage, Your next non-alt ability within 3 seconds costs 10% less. And everybody knows that when you cast crystal frags or any other ability, you have a 33% chance to proc a purple frag. Watch the B button, it just turned purple. Now it's a procced frag, so it'll deal a lot more damage. There it was, 25, almost 1,000 damage with no cast time and cost a bit less. So we do like to throw this at anybody in that group once we pull. It doesn't matter who it is, it's a big burst of damage. Mage's Wrath, this is slight damage up front, but it's a finisher. When they drop below 20% health, they will explode to basically everybody around them for 14,000 shock damage. That number could obviously crit. So very weak up front, but it's only to be used in execute range. But the thing you see on their feet, the lightning, you could load up more than one enemy with this. And they could sit on this just basically like another bomb of yours waiting to go off if they drop below that threshold. The last skill in the front bar, Streak, deals almost 6,000 damage. It stuns them, and that's pretty much it. It's a gap closer. You can deal damage, direct damage, and I will sometimes throw this into a group while I'm doing some, some rotation, and it does stun them. So it's very highly, it's a good utility to have on the bar. Now we do have a pet slotted. I don't often cast this, but I have the Greater Storm Atronach. Drop it in for almost 10k damage. It stuns everybody, and it deals 6,500 shock damage every second to somebody, but allies can also synergize with it to give everybody major berserk. If you drop this, your class mastery script will change just during his duration, but I have him slotted passively as a Daedric summoning skill for that extra 20% stamina recovery on that bar and 20% health recovery on that bar, as I'll show right here, right there. So I've already got Haunting Curse on the back bar, so if I put this on the front bar, I never lose those 20% recoveries, the 20% health and the 20% stamina. And that goes a long way, especially with not being a vamp now, having more health recovery. All right, let's take a look at the back bar now. The first skill, Inevitable Detonation. You pretty much load up an enemy with a bomb. It goes off after 4 seconds. That damage doesn't seem very high, right? 1647. But the more people around, with everybody around, it increases the damage by 100%. Okay? So, and the best part about this is you can have more than one instance of this as well. And it's direct damage to everybody, so a lot of chance to proc Nariant. Look, I've loaded them all up. Now watch this. It goes off 3 times, there's Nariant. Okay? So I try with the rotation, and we'll break this down, to go into like just 2 inevitable detonations, the way the timing works out. But we'll come back to that. Resolving Vigor, that's our stamina heal, almost 20,000 over 5 seconds, and the source of our minor resolve, minor ward, giving us an additional 3,000 resistance. I like to have a stam heal available, and it's a heal over time, so we could do some things in that 5-second duration. Now, Scalding Rune. This skill, you throw it on the ground, takes 2 seconds to arm, but when it's thrown, it'll deal 8,500 flame damage and an additional flame damage over time. There is a morph where you could use the stun, but we don't want that because we're using this with Dark Convergence. There you go. I threw the Fire Rune on the ground. That's the skill we needed to proc Dark Convergence, and it called them into the center, and everybody will land. We're on Dark Convergence cooldown now, so I'm showing you what the rune looks like. Everybody will be pulled into that rune and will get the same damage. Look right there, bam, simultaneously. And there you saw 3 instances of direct damage, so 3 chances for Nariant to proc. So with all the things we're doing, Inevitable, Haunting Curse, there's the rune, Mage's Wrath, Crystal Frags, or I'm sorry, Shocking Soul. I didn't get a Crystal Frag proc, but obviously these guys can't be pulled and their health is insane, so I'll never be able to show you the finisher damage on a dummy, but go back and watch the PvP clips. Crit Surge, 20% weapon and spell damage for 33 seconds, and also when we deal critical damage, we heal for 3,300 health up to once every second. That's insane. There's a lot of health sustained there, just constantly dealing damage. Look at all those crits I just got, and I got healed. So now Haunting Curse, another bomb on the enemy. 11,000 damage almost after 3.5 seconds. And then once we hit the 8.5 second mark, it goes off again. So you have a little bit of a timer. It's about to go off. There it went off the first time. Other things went off with it. Sorry for the visual clutter. It'll go off again here in just a sec. And there it was. Everybody, big numbers, 18,000 some of them. So 2 inevitables, 1 haunting curse, fire rune, switch mage's wrath, and then just start fragging and shocking soul away. That shocking soul's an AoE, and we're not even using an ult for this bomb. All remotely, and like you saw there, I did get a crystal frag proc and hit anybody in that group. It'll help. If anybody drops below that 20% and starts to go off and sets off vicious death, they all will. The ultimate on the back bar is the sword and board shield ult. By the way, I like that because for 7 seconds, I'm protected. I reflect projectiles, and I can almost ensure, guaranteed, that I can get my rotation off exactly when and how I want to. So what I'll do in battle, I'll cast that shield right there. I'll do inevitable, 2 different targets, haunting, fire rune, switch bars, mage's wrath, mage's wrath, mage's wrath. Sorry, mage's wrath once or twice, shocking soul while weaving light attacks. If I get a frag, I do throw it. You could spam mage's wrath as well, by the way. All right, well, big oof on my part. I realized after I'd gone through some clip cycling that I lost my CP distribution portion, but I will tell you in the blue tree, it was direct damage buffing, area of effect buffing, the weapon and spell damage buff, and the critical damage 10%. That was the blue, the 4. The red was the max health, the physical and spell resistance, and the recoveries that I usually like to use, sustained by suffering, and the other one. So that's all, guys. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate you guys as always, and on to the next one. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Like, subscribe, share, dislike, unsubscribe, hate, delete, whatever. Thanks for watching, guys. Area of Effect, signing out.